I don't know why I do this, and why I just love reading these, but we all know that a ketogenic diet is light years better than anything that you will go with a standard American diet or with plant-based alternatives or anything. Keto is better, and for most people, it is sufficient to achieve optimal human health. But if you need to up your game, you go carnivore or something close to carnivore. But I don't know why I do this so much, but I enjoy thoroughly reading these attempts to destroy keto diets done by propaganda outlets. And so I have another one of these for you today because you may have had this article waved in your face by somebody or the study that they cite here. So we're going to talk about this a little bit today. We're going to do it in very brief because that's how we do things here at Practical Carnivores, to not take up too much of your time. So, from the propaganda outlet vegnews.com, which I am convinced is funded by the food industry, headline: Doctors issue warning on keto diets following study on heart attack risk. A new study shows a low-carb, keto-like diet doubles the risk of heart attack and stroke. Is a plant-based diet better for weight loss? So, to be clear, the plant-based website that pushes plant-based diets wants to know if the plant-based diet is superior to keto for weight loss. What do you think their conclusion is going to be? It's a great mystery, folks. I wonder what they'll say. From the article, quote, a low-carb, high-fat LCHF, quote-unquote keto-like diet may double the risk of cardiovascular events such as blocked arteries, heart attack, and stroke, according to new research that was recently presented at the American College of Cardiology's annual scientific session and World Congress of Cardiology. LCHF diets, like the keto diet, restrict consumption of carbohydrates that are the body's primary source of energy. By depriving the body of carbohydrates, it is forced to start breaking down fat for energy instead. The study was based on information collected by the UK Biobank, a large-scale database with health information from more than 500,000 people living in the United Kingdom. Researchers examined individuals with data on serum lipids, metabolic markers, and dietary patterns. All participants recorded their diet in a 24-hour food survey and had their blood drawn to measure their cholesterol levels. Among them, 305 met the criteria for an LCHF diet, defined as consuming less than 25% of daily calories from carbohydrates and more than 45% from fat. The researchers noted that the diet is keto-like due to its higher percentage of carbohydrates and lower levels of fat than a strict ketogenic diet. They marked these participants with 1,220 individuals who were considered to be on a, quote, standard diet and made up the control group. Participants' average age was 54 years and they had a mean body mass index of around 27, which placed them in the overweight category. Let's pause here. They took people who have all the markers of being in bad health, took note that they were on a keto diet and blamed their keto diet for the bad health outcomes they had, and not how they got there. How they got to those places where they felt they needed to get to a keto diet to solve their problems. Do you see the dishonesty here? This is crazy that this got past peer review. But don't be surprised because universities are funded by the industries they study. That's how it works. So food industries fund food laboratories and fund food research institutes. That's how it works. And I'll bet you can, if you dig a little deeper into the funding here of the American College of Cardiology, I'll bet you will find food industry money all over the place at that university. If anybody knows how to find that information, email me. I would love to help blow the lid off of it. They ended up comparing these people to people on the standard American diet. And they followed the participants for almost 12 years, which that's good. As a research method, that's great that they were able to do that. And during the follow-up period, 9.8% of participants on the diet versus 4.3% of control group, meaning standard American diet, experienced a cardiovascular event. So again, people who were on the body mass index of around 27 had cardiovascular events. Obviously, if you are driven to a ketogenic diet for weight loss, it usually means you've tried everything else. That either you have horrible metabolic issues just as a natural genetics thing, or you ate yourself into some horrible position, or you had other horrible problems, and you have tried everything. Keto is usually like the last, most desperate step. These days, carnivore often is the most desperate step for a lot of people. before they just give up. These people were predisposed to have bad health. Body mass index of 27. Yeah, that person is going to have problems. I'm sorry. Here's the other thing. One thing that they're not going to tell you in this. They probably didn't ask them, how many times did you fail your diet and get back onto the diet? How many times did you fall off the wagon and get back on? How many times did you start over again and over again and over again? How many times? Because that damages your body. That's stressful. All those times you fell off the wagon and you ate the donut or whatever, that stuff contributed to bad heart health. All that fast food, all of it. This stuff is what passes for the expert opinion on medicine in our time. This is the stuff that we are told that we should be respecting. Think about it. We are apparently, as people who advocate for keto and carnivore and lower carbohydrates and animal-based diets, we're the ones who are considered outsiders. And this is why I go back to the concept of a paradigm shift. The current paradigm in nutrition and nutrition science isn't that carbs are bad. Now they're embracing that refined carbs are bad, but that carbs are essential. They can never answer the question of what essential nutrients are in carbohydrates. They can never, ever answer that question, because you can get all the essential nutrients that are locked into foods that are high in carbohydrates from animal sources. In fact, often at least just as well, if not far better. But they're the ones who control the paradigm right now. That is the current mode of thinking. Another word you can think of as a paradigm is a fancy word from philosophy called ontology, and it's sort of a worldview. A paradigm sort of fences in what is acceptable in a given anything. There's a paradigm in anything. There's a paradigm in Hollywood right now for what is acceptable to market to the masses. There's a paradigm in the medical research around how, like, the nature of viruses and germs theory and everything else. There's a paradigm in astrophysics right now that rules that field of study. There's a paradigm in everything, in every area of human inquiry. And in nutrition, it is saturated fat bad, carbs okay, processed foods generally bad, to the one thing they seem to get right, but otherwise, all those things are still better than a high saturated fat diet. That's what we're dealing with, folks. These are the decision makers. God help us, because this is not a good place to be. A plant-based diet is possibly the worst thing a human being can go on, short of the McDonald's diet. Eating McDonald's several times a week is going to wreck you. And I don't just mean McDonald's by itself. I mean any fast food is bad. Frequently eating. We know this. That's actually not something in dispute, but they will tell you that the standard American diet, which is a fast food heavy diet 3 times a week, just did a video on that a few weeks ago, that is better than what we push here as keto and carnivore. That we had worse, that their control group had better health outcomes than the keto group did, despite the fact that they corrupted it by having people who were at body mass index of 27, and not mentioning that those people almost to a person had to have tried every diet under the sun before they'd started keto. Stuff makes me mad. It really does. But this is why I read it, because you're going to have this study probably cited by a bunch of anti-carnivore, anti-keto people here on YouTube and other places, because they think they're going to make a point and try to prevent people from finding optimum health. They think they're doing a good thing by helping people keep from making a mistake in their mind of joining us on the proper human diet. But I'm curious what you think of this study. Let me know in the comments, please. Like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. As does sharing this on social media, that helps a lot too. I'm Anthony Stine, the Practical Carnivore. Thanks for tuning in today.